Tonight, death on demand. People who are terminally ill, forced to travel out of state or even out of the country to receive end-of-life care.
All right, is it assisted suicide or is it dying with dignity? Teresa Priolo looks into the hot button issue.
The ways that things are shaping up, it would be a very painful, difficult death. I would give up everything I love to have a decent death.
Yusef Cohen's dying wish was to die with dignity, surrounded by love and above all without needless suffering. A simple request, but not one available in New York State. Not now, and not when Cohen took his last breath in Oregon, 2016. He made this video for the advocacy group Compassion and Choices 1 week before he passed.
I love life, and I don't think of it as suicide. I think of it as having no choice. You're going to die anyhow, and so it's choosing how you want to die, and this seems to me a much more humane way of dying.
Yusef Cohen was diagnosed with mesothelioma, a cancer of the lungs, in 2012. His wife, Lindsay Wright, tells me at first they were optimistic that Cohen could live comfortably. But when the chemo, the radiation, and the surgeries failed to stop his illness, hope quickly faded.
My husband knew that there was not going to be a positive outcome here, that he was going to die.
Mesothelioma hardens the lungs as it advances. It has been described as one of the most painful, suffocating ways to die.
And so that's when he really started researching his options. And then sort of we learned about this medical aid in dying in Oregon that had been established for 2 decades.
Oregon became the first state in the nation to legalize medical aid in dying, or as some refer to it, assisted suicide. Since then, 10 states and D.C. have legalized what they call death with dignity. But in order to die on your own terms, the terminally ill patient must move to a state with these laws in place, establish residency, find a physician willing to help. The patient must follow a strict set of rules, which includes obtaining a powdered medication that you mix in water and drink yourself.
I didn't know anybody in Oregon. No, we were putting our hands into medical personnel who might or might not help us. You know, it was a roll of the dice, you know, really, to get there. His illness deteriorated so quickly. His body deteriorated so quickly. And I think that is the most difficult aspect of this. Sort of, it's almost impossible to move to another state.
It is a decision Cassandra Johnston is contemplating as she battles stage 3 breast cancer.
One day, I accidentally discovered a lump on my right side.
Cassandra hopes medical aid in dying is not an option she needs. It is one she wants, should the cancer progress.
So being diagnosed with late-stage cancer, it is very scary because you hear all of the terrible stories from friends and family who have had firsthand experience with their loved ones who have died truly in agony. A lot of trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of needless suffering. And I thought, for one, I would never wish that on anybody, including myself.
The closest option for medical aid in dying is Vermont, which just removed the residency requirement, and New Jersey, which did not. New York is considering this, but the bill has been stalled for the last 8 years. Death with Dignity has its fair share of critics, including disability advocate Anita Cameron, with the group Not Dead Yet, who believes it will be exploited.
There is palliative sedation, that you're sedated, okay, while the dying process takes place. That's available to people already, you know, rather than to put something into law that it will endanger, you know, tons of people.
Ending a terminal illness the way you want is a choice Dignitas has been advocating for years. Based in Switzerland, they're leading the charge in Europe.
Mainly Germany, Great Britain, and France, but still around 10% of our members are from the United States.
In some European countries like England, it's a crime akin to voluntary murder, not only for the patient, but also their surviving family members.
We have never seen anyone that wants to die. Not even the people that turn to Dignitas want to die.
So the debate remains in a country like the U.S., where we value the ability to live freely. What happens at the point in which we want to die on our own terms?
Do you feel as if your husband's death was more peaceful?
Yes, I do. And I do feel that his death was more compassionate, more gentle. He went to sleep. He did not suffer in the end.